Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Solo Role Mangging, Tales of Argosa. Finally, we will be getting to the lost city of Barakus. Lot of build up for this one. The most, perhaps, of any module. Yes. So last time we finished up in the Tomb of the Serpent Kings after finding the treasure room and easily leveling up to level 2 for both our characters. That was great. And we also had enough money then to outfit the duo with masterwork weapons and armor and stuff. And yeah, I mean, we're all pretty much situated. I don't think there's anything else we had to do. We finished all that last time. I decided, as far as the ration situation, because I'm revising that, I'm working on that, blah blah blah. And I think we have to have a 2 ration system. Well, we don't have to at all, but I can't have there just be iron rations and then food, because that doesn't make any sense, really. Well, you could have it that way, but in Axe, it says you have iron rations, which is dried, pickled, salted, smoked, or otherwise preserved. And it lasts like 2 months in the wilderness or a week in a dungeon. Then you have standard rations. They don't remain as edible for long. They include fresh bread, cheese, butter, lard, or oil, bacon, other meat, eggs, beans, fresh fruit, vegetables. They last about a week in the wilderness, 1 day in a dungeon. I think this is exactly the system that I want. As in, this is the differentiation. What we're doing is just tweaking numbers and ignoring some numbers. I don't want to track preservation status or how long before it spoils. No ration will ever spoil under my system just because I don't want to track it. If you're going to want to track it, then just use this as it is. But then really the only difference is how long it lasts and how much it costs. But if you're tracking how long it lasts, that is a pretty big factor. So you're almost always going to buy iron rations. So then it's just a matter of price, which could matter. Again, you can't find iron rations in small places, but you could make your own, assuming you can buy regular food, which is basically everywhere, right? I mean, maybe there won't be a place that sells it, like a store that sells it, but if you want to buy food from a local with money, they might have enough and they'll sell it to you, or whatever. Usually food's not too big of a deal unless it is, in which case that's sort of a focal point of the adventure. So yeah, like I said, I want iron rations to be what's basically this I want to keep as is. Iron rations are iron rations. They take up 1 week, takes up 1 slot. Done. That's an iron ration. It never goes bad, never expires. You could last it for 8 years, whatever. Then there's standard rations, and this is where I'm tweaking it. And again, I'm not doing the fluctuating price. So the big problem with iron rations is that they cost 3 gold for 1 week's supply. So they're a little trickier to find in smaller settlements to just purchase, but you could make your own. Standard rations are cheaper. That's going to be about like 5 silver for a week's supply of food. Even though that seems a little high, doesn't it? A week's supply of food? Like 4 pounds of white bread is a silver. Pound of butter, pound of cheese is like 1 silver. Meat, a pound of beef is like 4 copper. I guess, yeah, honestly, 5 silver. I mean, you can stretch that out reasonably well. It said you had to eat 2 pounds of food per day. Well, yeah. Let's see, that would be 5, 6, 7 pounds. Maybe you buy like 3 pounds of beef. Whatever. We're saying 5 silver. You could bump it up to a gold and it wouldn't make too much difference. For their price for rations, they say 35 copper to 3 gold for 1 week. 35 copper for a week seems really, like, rough. So I'm happy with 5 silver. Although 35 copper, I guess, is 3.5 silver. So we're not that far off. Maybe I should just set it at a gold. Yeah, it's the same thing. 5 silver or a gold. It's the same, level. All right, we'll say a gold. A gold's not too expensive. All right, so a gold per week of food. It doesn't ever expire. Like, I don't want to track that, so it doesn't ever expire. The only difference is it takes up 3 times as much space because it's not dried. It's not... The volume is, larger, and so it's it's like a pound of 4 pounds of bread. It's a loaf of bread. That's really like a slot by itself. So yeah, it just takes up a lot more space. It's not fresh food to be. Well, I mean, it is relatively fresh, but it is sort of cooked. Like, the meat has to be cooked. Raw meat is a whole other category of food. Like, if you butcher an animal, you don't get a standard ration out of it. Technically. I mean, it does convert directly to rations. And like, if you hunt, it tells you how many rations worth of meat you get. What I'm sort of going to hand wave outside of the lack of expiration is the cooking time. So to just convert raw food to a like if you butcher a deer, converting that to just standard ration, like a week's supply of just regular standard rations, that takes very little time. Like, I'm not going to sweat that too much. Like an hour or something. Like, if you're really pressed for time, like, it'll keep, and we might actually have to track how long. Like, maybe I'll give you 24 hours and be really generous or something, but maybe just 12 hours. I don't know. If you want to cook it in the morning or something, I'll allow it. But otherwise, it's gone. So, yeah, making it into standard rations, not that big of a deal. But if you want to actually make it into iron rations and preserve it, that takes, like a day of dedicated activity. 8 hours. So instead of traveling or something like that, you are drying and preserving the food, the meat, or whatever it is, in order to turn it into iron rations. So you can take standard rations and compress them into iron rations, but it will take time. Which means that you could just go to a store, like in a small market, buy enough food. So buy a week of standard rations for gold, and then spend a day converting to iron. Sure. I mean, I won't stop you from doing that, and that's a logical thing to do. If you're, preserving food for your own purposes for travel, that's not outrageous. But not everyone will want to do that and waste a day or something like that. Would I allow you to do that during a long rest? Predominantly low-key activity. The majority of the day must be spent resting. I don't think you could say preserving meat is strenuous. Most of the time, it's just like sitting there while it dries or smokes or something. So, yeah, sure. If you want to spend your long rest preserving food, go ahead. So, it's a pretty generous system, especially with the extra rule that I'm putting in, which is if you are out camping and you eat an iron ration, it heals 1 hit point, assuming, weather is not absurd and you have a bedroll. If, however, you're at an inn or other safe location like this, or you eat a standard ration, we're going to test this rule out. So I'm not implementing this just yet for my group, but we're going to test out the rule, see how balanced it is. You get 2 hit points back, and you get to make 1 recovery roll. So 1 roll against your willpower to see if you get a recovery, which could be a lot more health if you're really injured, or it could be recovering a spell usage or ability usage or a reroll, whatever. So we're going to test out that rule, which incentivizes you to have fresh food on the road, but then you know, it takes up a lot more space. If you have a cart and some mules or something, it might be a no-brainer then to just load it up with fresh food, and it never expires. But as a DM, I would be inclined then to have, like, wild animals be much more likely to come approach it. Like, you have, like, cooked meat and stuff, like, it's not preserved, there's just food sitting here in a cart. It's bountiful, you know? So, like, if you're gonna leave your cart outside of the dungeon then with all your fresh food, it's gonna be way worse for you. Or it's gonna be way riskier, because wild animals are way more likely to be attracted to that, I think. Or that's how I'm gonna rule it. So there are pros and cons to both, which I think is good. So that's the changes I'm making. All right, let's begin the Lost City of Barakus, shall we? This particular product is as much of a campaign setting as an adventure. Set in the Lost Lands and detailed within these pages is the great bustling metropolis of Endhome, the Penpree Forest and Duskmoon Hills located north of that city, and finally the huge dungeon that is the Lost City of Barakus. Within all these areas are many adventures, monsters, NPCs, and locations for the characters to explore, interact with, and conquer. How and in what order the characters choose to take on the various challenges before them is entirely the referee's and the player's choice. Okay. We're not going to read the background because we don't want to know the spoilers. And we're not going to finish this, right? I mean, this is like a whole campaign. We're not going to finish it or anything. I just want to poke around a little bit, hopefully get to the city itself relatively soon, maybe do a couple things in the wilderness. I don't know, we'll see. But just, you know, check it out, see if it is well written, well put together, how easy it is to kind of run. With the formatting and everything, stuff like that. See if I want to run it maybe someday for the family. And hopefully have some fun while we do it. Alright, so our adventure hook is that we've been hired to find the missing magic user, Fenton. And it says here, provides a link and reason for the players to visit Barakus in search of a lost husband, which suggests then that it's the wife that has hired us, perhaps in the capital city or whatever, in order to go to this Endhome region, this area, the Lost Lands, to find her magic user husband, who has not returned. Okay. So then we get to a lot of information about the city itself. Hold on a second. Okay, I took a break to eat some dinner, and I started to just kind of read through a bit of Endhome here, just so we didn't have to read through this, or I didn't have to just sit here and be like, oh, hold on, let me just read this. So Endhome is a pretty big city, and we'll get to how big in a second. It's a very influential, wealthy place. It's primarily merchant-driven. It's a republic whose senators are primarily merchants. It's on the coast, so it's basically a kind of major mercantile hub for this region. But it's also kind of like in a sort of borderland region. Like, this is not an especially civilized area. And it says there's no lack of adventure in Endhome. And it says, it's the only city where merchants can buy or sell to other merchants from so many far-off lands. Streets are always crowded with exotic travelers and businessmen. It's got a 20-foot high stone wall around the whole thing. And various districts even have 15-foot high walls. There was something else about it that was just like, it's sort of like in somewhat no man's land. There are bandits, waylaying merchants on the roads outside town and stuff, but that's not super uncommon. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get the strong impression that it's... Yes, critical to Endhome's survival is its rigorous defense. The Senate is keenly aware of the strategic appeal of their city's location, and although many nations benefit from Endhome's neutrality, still others would love nothing more than to capture the city and reap its many treasures. Thus, Enholm maintains a garrison of no less than 3,500 soldiers. Right, and we can get to the actual map of the city here. So each X is 500 feet, so this is like 5,500 feet by sort of 3,000-ish feet with a little extra here. So yeah, it's about a mile long here. It does have this massive river intersecting it, which is like 300 feet wide itself. And it's got major docks and all that sort of stuff. And it's got slums, and it's got sort of the government district, and it has the Wizards Academy, and all sorts of stuff like that. A bazaar. So it's a pretty major city. But it's independent. It's an independent city-state in a bit of a rough region. So yes, their security is pretty paramount. And big mercantile hub. It is the trading capital of the continent. It's pretty big. And it's independent, so yeah, makes sense. Plenty of other nations would want to take it over. So, that brings us to the discussion that I wanted to figure out what class of market is based on, Axe. Because that's going to be important. That's always a fact. You always want to know if players are going to be doing anything of significance in a settlement. You want to figure out what the class is. It doesn't outright state the population of the city, which would have made things a bit easier. But there are a few clues. One is this first section here, which is the biggest clue. With a little asking, the character should be able to locate a merchant selling anything worth up to 1,000 gold. So, just a little asking will get you that. Which suggests then we're at a class 3, at least. Because that means that if you want to buy any one thing that's worth up to 1,000 gold, you can pretty readily find a merchant for it. Alright? It complicates that somewhat, though, by saying that, as a rule, the party can easily sell anything with a market price of 5,000 gold or less. Which is kind of weird. They'll buy anything, or they'll sell anything worth up to 1,000. They'll buy anything worth up to 5,000. That's not really how this works. This is an equal value for buying or selling. So this will let you sell anything up to 1,000 pretty easily. But if you want to go above that, there's a 25% chance per month you'll find a merchant willing to buy it. Now, we could bump the place up to a class 2 market, in which case there's no issue selling anything up to 10,000 or buying anything up to 10,000. But I can't imagine that's sort of the intention. So I'm still leaning towards class 3 based on that. I'll also note that it says here, you can sell anything at the bazaar for up to, you get anywhere from 45 to 55% of the item's market value, depending on the character's charisma. That is a drastic low value for treasure. I mean, that's right on the mark for, like, equipment and stuff you find. But treasure items, I always like to Google around, try to find discussions about what people let their players sell treasure for. The most common response is whatever the module says it's worth, or whatever it says it's worth. If you find a necklace worth 100 gold pieces, you sell it for 100 gold pieces, and it's done. Like, there's no haggling or anything. I really wanted to get more specifically an answer for Axe, because that gets so much more into the nitty-gritty. But I couldn't really find much. I mean, mostly that's crawling through the Discord, hoping to find a discussion. There is a little bit of a discussion, though. And I think it sort of aligns with my general rule of 15%. It's under the proficiencies. So there's a proficiency for bargaining. And for every level you have of bargaining proficiency, you pay 10% less listed price for purchases and sell 10% more listed price. For anything you're selling. And it's assumed then that basically any merchant is going to have at least one level of bargaining. Because the venturer class gets automatically bargaining as a proficiency. So, as a general rule then, just to simplify things, assume any merchant has at least one level of bargaining, maybe two. And I'll split the difference and keep my normal rule of 15% for treasure. So, I'll keep with that. I don't think it's a huge difference if you go with 100% value, whatever the treasure says it's worth. You're going to have, your party will have 15% more treasure than my party, but that's... I mean, that adds up over time for sure. But like I said, I allow for haggling if people want. So far in my games, no one ever has, by the way. So it is what it is. Anyways, then we get to the defense of the city section. And this is where things really get thrown out of whack. Endholm maintains a garrison of no less than 3,500 soldiers, which includes foot soldiers, archers, engineers, and a small cavalry. In times of war, this number can swell to as many as 6,000, with the conscription of farmers, merchants, dock workers, and yes, even a few adventurers. These are massive numbers. Based on Axe rules for conscription into the military, basically you get one conscript for every 50 people. Now, I don't know what the rate is. It says this conscription can be done all at once or over a period of time. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously... yeah, I mean, we're assuming a fairly low casualty rate, I suppose, for Endholm. Like, I assume it hasn't really been besieged in quite a while. And they mostly just maintain peace within the city. Like, they don't... Obviously, they're not really patrolling the roads and stuff outside too much. So they're just concerned with the city. So we assume the casualty rate is fairly low. So if we assume there's 5,000 families in and around Endholm, which would be 25,000 people, which would be the upper limit of a class 3 settlement is 25,000. 5,000 families. That means that you have 500 conscripts. I don't know what the duration is of a sort of military duty. I have no idea. Let's say, I don't know. I think, I don't know, 20 years. Let's say 20 years. Sort of depends, I guess, on what... I mean, it has an example here for population growth and all that. Well, with 1,000 families, he could replenish 5 conscripts each year from the 50 he'd lost. That's replacement of casualties, but we can also just assume that's additional conscripts. So with 5,000 families, that's 25 extra conscripts per year. Which doesn't sound that much. But I think also, you talk about mercenaries. And Endholm is a very, very wealthy city-state, as we've seen. So I think probably a good chunk of the military consists of mercenaries that have just been, recruited, that just have signed up or whatever. Not that they're mercenaries, but basically just outsiders that aren't born and bred here. People that travel through or come by or whatever, they want to sign up because there's plenty of openings. Endholm presumably pays fairly well, and it's a pretty relatively safe gig unless there's no war. So we can assume the numbers have kind of blossomed because of that. Like, mercenary availability for an empire is pretty big. Yeah, across the whole empire for light infantry, every season, there's 28,000 people available. So, yeah, it's not too difficult. Like, this is not all conscriptions, of course. And it even says that the number can swell to as many as 6,000 with the conscription of farmers, merchants, dock workers, and yes, even a few adventurers. Although that I interpret more as a militia. Which if they can summon up a militia of 2,500, that's pretty sure. That's up to 2 additional peasants per 10,000 families. Which again, if we say there's 5,000 families, 5,000. So that's 5, up to 2 per 5. So it's really only 250. So again, the amount that it would take based on axe numbers I don't even know, 2,500 people means 1,250 times 10, 12,500 families. So that's times 5, 62,000 people. That number suggests a population of 62,000, I think. Which would mean, well, yeah, that's easily a class 1, probably. So, bottom line is, of course, they didn't think about this too much, or maybe Axe is off. I don't know. I trust Axe in all things, so I lean towards that. But I think we're just gonna go, for most purposes, a class 3, and it's a special sort of city that has recruited a lot more soldiers than a normal city of this size. So we'll say 25,000, and we'll also say that they have a very harsh sort of militia policy that takes way more people than ordinary. Something like that. All right, so then we get into the actual keyed locations, which I was very curious. Despite having 3,500 soldiers in their garrison at all times, maintaining the city, the 3 main city gates are manned by 2 foot soldiers. Yeah. Caravans must pay an entrance tax of 1 gold piece per cart or 3 silver per beast of burden. We are bringing in a cart, so we'll have to pay that. There's the trading district. Simple. It's also home to the Endhome's 2 finest inns. No less than 3 patrols. Keep watch over this area at all time. The Black Sheep Inn. Swanky Inn. Massive wine cellar. 6-course meal every night for the cost of 4 gold per person. Heaven's Gate for the wealthiest merchants and traders, as well as visiting royalty. 40 rooms, all complete with 4-poster canopy beds, duck-down pillows, and fireplaces. Rooms here start at 8 gold per person. Go all the way to 50 gold per night for the Emperor's Suite, which includes a maid to draw a bath, a bodyguard, and a 4-course breakfast in bed. Okay. The Bazaar. Okay. So that's the other trading, or that's part of the trading district, I imagine. No? This is the trading district here, too. Here's that one fancy inn. Here's the other fancy inn, I think. Yeah. And then the bazaar is all the way down here. So there's 2 trading districts. Although this trading district is more for, like, large quantities of goods. You know. Yeah, this is for, like, commercial... what do they call that? You know, like arbitrage trading sort of stuff, whatever that's called. Fuck. Yeah, various merchandise. Commodities, that's the word I'm looking for. I didn't even see that there, but that's the word I was looking for. Commodities. Whereas the bazaar is for everything else. Like, this is where all the people go. Just about anything and everything is for sale in Enholm's Bazaar. Dozens of small merchants, peddlers, farmers selling their wares from push carts and collapsible stands. Surrounding the open-air portion are tiny shops selling anything from trinkets to topcoats, from lampshades to longswords. An adventurer wishing to cash in some hard-won baubles would have no trouble doing so here. A strange tablet written in an ancient language comes up for sale in one of the booths at some point. This tablet is a map to the ruined city of Sen, located in the burning wastes on the north side of the Gulf of Akaidos. The vendor wants 200 gold for this rare antiquity, but will take much less for the old stone tablet. Haggling is commonplace in the open-air market center, not so much so in the shops. Assuming most merchants start their price about 10 to 20% over than the Swords and Wizardry rulebook. Okay. Yeah, this is the, yeah, at least for the open-air market, I suppose. Well, yeah, so a lot of money flowing through there, and they're not shy about haggling for it. Okay, so here it says that we actually run across Penelope here, who begs them to help her find Fenton, which makes more sense. I don't know why his wife would be, like, hundreds of miles away or whatever in a different capital city. So we came here just because we are in search of adventure, I guess, and we go to the bazaar. Maybe that's where we did all our shopping before. To masterwork stuff and things like that. And we bump into Penelope. I assume that's going to be under the adventures. There are encounters in the slums. And it is a rent for every 2 hours to spend outdoor in the slums. You roll on this chart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, it would be pretty important for a DM running this campaign to read all this and understand it and read the map and, you know what could happen at each spot. The King's Road Inn is a large inn, popular gathering place for travelers and adventurers. Rooms are 8 silver per night, meals are 3 silver. Horses can be stable at the cost of 2 silver per night. This is a fantastic location to pick up rumor and adventure leads. Each night there's a 40% chance players learn something interesting. Okay. I think, though, based on Bruce and what we know about Bruce, he's going to want to stay possibly at the swankiest place. The Heaven's Gate. The most opulent and decadent lodging in the area. 8 gold per person. It doesn't mention meals and how much they cost, but if we assume it's at least double the Black Sheep Inn based on the room price, then we're probably looking at like 10 gold per meal. If we want the fancy thing, and it doesn't sound like they have a not fancy area compared to the Black Sheep Inn. So I don't know if Bruce is gonna, he's a frat boy, so I don't think he's gonna shell out 10 gold for Trixie to have a 6-course meal or whatever. So maybe he's not that dumb, so maybe we'll stick with the Black Sheep Inn. But he's hoping to work his way up to Heaven's Gate soon. So that means that it'll be 4 gold per person if we want to do the fancy meal, which is pretty fucking fancy. Includes a fish course, game course, fresh oysters, and 2 desserts. And then the rooms are 3 gold per person, or as high as 10 gold per person in the King's Suite. Ooh, we could all share the King's Suite together. I mean, it's pretty close to the same price if we got separate rooms. I just wanted to see one other thing, maybe. We'll assume every place sort of has a stable. Okay. There's also the sewers, which we're obviously not about to go into unless we bump into a plot hook, which the DM would have to kind of be cognizant of. So yeah, there's various notable people. I don't know if we'll get into all this. If I were DMing it, absolutely. For sure, 100%. But for our solo purposes, we kind of want to just see all the options, see the wilderness, see the dungeon. Based on my history of these kind of campaigns, solo, I know that we don't have that many sessions in us before I'm like, yeah, that's good, or we just die. So, yeah, we kind of want to see some stuff. But there's Bragger Bondholm, the only demi-human to hold a seat of authority in Endholm. Yeah, he served as captain of the guard for 20 years, see? So, and it'll do it for another 30 because of his dwarven longevity. Okay, so he's the captain of the guard, which is probably a pretty important position. The governor, Ranlin Poole, portly man of 50 or so. He's been governor for 10 years after serving 12 years in the Senate. Okay. Personal fortune worth approximately 50,000 gold pieces. Okay. Kilgore Spink is his personal bodyguard, seasoned veteran of the guard, and of several adventures. He's a level 5 fighter with 25 hit points. That's a bit low for Axe, personally, for a level 5 fighter. Assuming, like, say, a 14 con, he would have, let's see, 17 at level 1, 20 at level 2, 23, 26, 29. It's pretty close. 12 AC only, or 16 if he has his armor on, I assume. His +1 chainmail. Yeah, okay, pretty simple. Yeah, +1 to hit for high strength, +1 damage bonus for high strength. Yeah, I mean, he's a level 5 fighter. He's fairly capable, but not absurd or anything. Fernando Quincino, heir apparent to the Quincino fortune. Level 3 fighter. High Priest Thaban, The most highly respected clergyman in Enhome. Level 9 cleric. Jesus. Yeah, and that. You can cast level 5th level divine spells. Cool. Lurton and Amelia Gaspar represent the height of Enhome old money. Stylus Cant, current headmaster of the Wizards Academy. Can't imagine we'll be spending too much time there. And then there's a chaotic adventuring party. Could prove a useful thorn in the party's side. Their stats here are for 3rd level. There's a monk, a half-drow magic user, a cleric, and a thief. Curly Barnes. The characters may have a hard time keeping Curly from joining their party. This little annoyance, he's a human man but barely taller than a halfling, is in search of a band of brothers with which to align himself. And if the party is lawful and the slightest bit good-natured, he seeks to have himself adopted by them. That's fun. Play this NPC for comedy and pathos. Pytor the Red. Level 2 fighter. He's also happy to join the party, and a good strong arm he is. Morin, level 3 magic user. Okay. Adventures in Enhome. These could provide an interesting contrast to the dark tunnels of a dungeon and allow Enhome to function as more than just a place to rest and sell booty. These adventures range from information gathering forays to spine and fighting. Finding Fenton. This is what we're going to be doing. Penelope Barmy's husband, Fenton Barmy, was an adventuring magic user who left with 3 comrades a year ago to explore the caves north of Enhome. Neither he nor his mates ever returned. His widow grieved for many months, dearly missing her charismatic husband whom she had warned against this dangerous undertaking. Penelope, it turns out, is psychic. Quite psychic, in fact. She has twice predicted a flood of the Galen River. She foresaw the death of a neighbor by drowning, and is visited occasionally by deceased relatives with whom she carries on long conversations. 6 months after her husband disappeared, Penelope dreamed that he was still alive, but that he was in great distress. A month after that, she dreamed again that he was alive and had a dark companion as well. Since then, she has had a dream at least once a month where she feels his spirit calling out to her for help. Desperate to rescue her husband and see him return to her, she has begun frequenting certain unsavory taverns in search of adventurers who might help her. She has very little to offer in the way of payment or directions. Oh, she can pay some way, I'm sure. She can pay Bruce somehow. Realizing most adventurers are looking for compensation, she has scraped together 50 gold pieces to offer as a reward for the safe return of Fenton. She can offer no more advice on his whereabouts other than he lives at the bottom of a deep cavern with a dark companion. That is pretty friggin' vague. Okay, so yeah, while we're in the market doing all our shopping, she sees Bruce, this just tower of man meat with a grin. That's the guy. That's the guy who's gonna save my husband. She explains everything in detail. Everything she can, and offers the character 50 gold pieces if they can find her husband, who she describes as over 6 feet tall with thinning blonde hair. If the party shows any interest at all, she pleads with them to help, breaking down in tears and crumbling to her knees. If they do not offer to help, they see her from time to time at the inn with a sad and lost look in her eye. Okay. Saving Fenton is not easy. He will have to be either incapacitated or cured of his madness to be brought willingly from his hiding place. If he is returned to his wife and cured of his illness, his gratefulness to the party knows no bounds. Gives them his wand of magic missiles and his offer to help them should they ever need a bed to lay their heads on or a meal to warm their bones. If the party declines to accept Penelope's reward money, award the party 200 XP for their generosity. Right. Well, that's sounds like it's going to take some time. It's level 2 of the mega dungeon. So, and we don't have much to go off of. How would we start? Well, we'd probably go around to, like, yeah, that adventurer inn. The King's Road Inn. And we'll just ask around about any caverns or something like that. And there is a section here at the start where it says what you might know. Getting to know Endhome. And there is something mentioned. There are some caves in the hills north of Endhome where adventurers have occasionally gone to seek treasure. A bartender or patron of the King's Road Inn would know this. So yeah, there's some hills to the north. Perhaps the Dusk Moon Hills is what he refers to. It's not too far. These are... What are these? Oh, these are 5-mile hexes. Okay, it is pretty far. That's at least 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 miles or so. So that's a few-day trip up north. And we could buy horses to make it a bit faster, though. Then it would be just a couple-day trip. Because the mule can keep up fairly well, as we've discussed before. Like medium horses have a speed of 60, whereas mules have a speed of 50. So the mule's only slightly slower. So yeah, probably 20 miles per day on a road. It would be our speed. So a couple-day trip, I think, is not out of the question. So I guess we'll probably buy horses. Well, so we could immediately set out to do that, then go to the hills and start poking around trying to find caverns or something. Or I could, as the DM, insert some other... the Lost Treasure map, which will lead to the Barakus. Or the Were-Rat Warren is good for characters of 2nd to 3rd level. Pits players against a chaotic pack of were-rats and provides clues as to the true evils of the Palanti family. Alright. Well, we'll do the hills then. And I don't think we need any more sort of instigation to go check out the hills up there. So yeah, I guess that's it. So then we can scroll all the way down. There's a lot in the city, which is very fun. I mean, I like that a lot, but we're not... The city is actually kind of a higher level stuff. Okay. Farmland, grassland, riverbed. This area is populated and by and large not particularly dangerous. Characters don't have to look far to find a farmer, merchant, or sojourner. Okay. An encounter should be rolled for once every 6 hours. If the characters are on either the King's Road or Merchant's Way, assuming they pass at least one caravan heading to or from Endhome each day, in addition to those encounters listed below. And then it says, when rolling for encounters, add or subtract the following, depending on the time of day and where the characters are traveling. So -5 for during the day, +5 at night, -10 if you're in the farmland. And -5 if you're on King's Road or Trader's Way. Traveling on the King's Road through farmland. Is that something that could happen? Oh, I guess... Oh, okay. This outline, this lighter area is all farmland. Okay, that's fine. Well, we're not going to be messing with that. We're going north on Trader's Way. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's buy a few horses. Which is going to be... well, we could buy all sorts. I mean, any horse we want, really. We could buy medium war horses for 250. Well, no, I guess we can't buy that. War horses are pretty pricey, and I don't think we really need that. Probably just medium riding horses is fine. It seems fairly standard. Or step riding. Oh no, I'm stuck, step horse. They have a speed of 70, making them almost as fast as light horses. Normal load of 25 stone. Yeah, that's not going to work for Bruce. Bruce is already 15 plus 10. So he's already 25 if he doesn't add anything. So that's a no-go. We need something a bit heavier than that. So a medium horse has a normal load of 30. That's acceptable. Yeah, I don't think we have to go all the way up to heavy. Okay, medium. And then it doesn't seem to... I mean, what's the difference between a draft horse and a riding horse? Seems weird you wouldn't differentiate that. It says to look at the monster manual. Well, it's not a... What the fuck is a horse? It's gotta be here. How am I not seeing a horse? Why wouldn't it just... Oh, equine. Of course. Yeah, it mentions the difference between a normal horse and a war horse. I get that. What's the difference between a work beast and a mount? I guess draft horses are just not meant to be ridden. I don't know what happens if you try to ride a horse for ridden, but I guess they've just never had a rider, so not good. The answer's not good. I could ask ChatGPT. I mean, is any other game gonna even have this as a question? Like, is there going to be any difference for most games between any types of horse? I feel like most games might have just horse or war horse. Let's see. OSR, draft horse versus riding horse. Oh, here we go. D&D Next. Designed for working. Pulling a wagon or plow. Game stats reflect that by having a slower speed, a higher carrying capacity. Well, I mean, it is what I said. I just don't know how Axe differentiates it mechanically. I can't really see any stats differentiating it other than just your DM saying, no, you can't ride that. And so that's what we'll say. We'll say, no, you can't ride that, which is fine. I'm fine. So we're just buying 3 medium riding horses for 120 gold. I had a number left over. 595 minus 120. Yes. So 475. Good. And yeah, like I said, I think I did all my shopping, so well, Did I say these are iron rations, right? That's what we're saying. Yeah, maybe I should buy some standard rations because I wanted to test my house rule. So I suppose we probably should, right? So standard rations. I'm gonna change this then to iron rations. We'll buy a week's supply. I mean, we're heading 2 days out, 2 days back at least, you know? So probably a week's supply for each person. So 21 standard rations, which is going to cost me 1 gold. That's 21 gold. Simple. See how simple that is? And that takes up 3 slots per week, so that's 9 slots. Okay. All right, yeah, let's go. So, like I said, we have a traveling speed of about 20 miles per day. These are 5-mile hexes. So we're at the sort of the southern edge here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. And it says that we roll once every 6 hours. But usually you travel for 8 hours, so it's but it is a 24-hour day, right? So, I mean, there's no way around that. So basically, we're going to roll once. Let's see, we set out, say, at 7 a.m. We travel for 8 hours every day, which means we end travel around 3 p.m. Does that seem right to you? I think every RPG averages an 8-hour travel day, right? That's a lot of travel. Dedicated activity, which is 8 hours. The remaining 4 hours of daylight are allocated to ancillary activity. So yeah, from like 3 to 7. Yeah, that's how it is. That's a lot of tough marching. Well, I think the 4 hours of daylight, the ancillary activities and acts, that can be spread out throughout the day. Because that's stuff like, oh boy. Land surveying to assess the value of a 6-mile hex, or foraging for healing herbs, prospecting for ore. You might stop then on your travels during the day. Trapping to construct wilderness traps. Oh, this is dedicated activity. No wonder. Right, I was looking at the long thing. Ancillary activity. Yeah, that's stuff you can do in about an hour. Foraging for firewood, foraging for food, foraging for water. Searching for layers in a hex. You can continue to travel, except that's going to be a little bit of a problem. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, there's various things you can do. So I guess you can travel. Well, no. This forced marching assumes 12 hours of marching. Characters who are forced marching are considered to have used all their ancillary activities on travel and cannot undertake any ancillary activities. I see. If a party wants to travel less than its expedition speed, it can travel for an hour as an ancillary activity. Traveling for more than 4 hours counts as a dedicated activity, even if party travels fewer miles than its full expedition speed. Okay. It's a little bit vague. But again, I assume most games are 8 hours. PCs can travel up for 8 hours a day. That's the simple way to do it, you know? And you can travel mounted 2 hours per hex, so 4 hexes, which is 6 mile hex. That's 24 miles if you're mounted. Obviously, Shadow Dark, way simpler system. So it's just mounted or not mounted. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it mostly works out to the same stuff. Right, so we'll ignore all the ancillary stuff for Max, and it's an 8-hour day. Right, so then basically at the end of our march, 6 hours, well, no, 6 hours into our march, sorry, so around 1 p.m., that's rolling for an encounter. It doesn't have to happen at 1 p.m., it could happen at any time, but whatever. Then 6 hours later, 7 p.m., which is right about when it's going to get dark, but it's still day, there'll be another encounter. Then another one at, 1 a.m.? So that's the middle of the night. And then there'll be another one when we wake up. There'll be another check. And these are not... This is a D100 roll where 1 to 35 is no encounter. Meaning that you have a pretty high chance of getting an encounter. If you start 61 to 100 is going to be some sort of creature, starting with wild dogs and getting worse. So that's pretty high encounter rate for this region. But I guess that's it's a dangerous region we're in. And we're going to find that out pretty quickly. So we're doing our march. Bellany is going to do... Now, Bruce is going to be doing foraging. It's a very un-Bruce-like activity, but he will. And I think Bellany's just going to be on lookout. Okay. So we'll have him roll his wilderness lore. Great success. So those two don't have to... Well, him and Trixie don't have to eat tonight. Unless they want to. That's always... Like, if they want to eat up a standard ration to get the bonus, they could. But otherwise, they don't have to... He found berries and shit. That's good. And now we're going to have to roll this encounter. So it's a D100. We're on Trader's Way, so it's -5. And it's daytime, so -10 total. We are not in farmland. Nothing on Trader's Way is in farmland. So it's just D100 -10. 45. Campsite. We come upon a one-day-old campsite. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be loads of campsites, so it's probably not particularly impressive. And we found this at not 3 p.m., so we're not going to use it or anything. We'll just keep going. Simple. All right, then we set up camp. Later, sun is starting to set. We roll another one, -10 again. 46. We found another campsite. All right, we'll use it. Well, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. So that one you can just ignore. We didn't find another campsite, and a campsite didn't fall out of the sky. You could say that we did find one, and that's what we're using, or you could just ignore and say nothing happens, which is what I would say. All right, middle of the night. We'll roll another one. So now it's just going to be a -5. No, it's actually just a D100. -5 + 5. 65 is going to be wild dogs. 1d4 wild dogs. Just one wild dog. Aw, little dog. We are going to roll a reaction roll. Much like I didn't use Nafira's god-awful charisma to influence her reaction to animals, I'm not going to use Bruce's positive charisma to influence animals. Just intelligent creatures. So 2d6... 4. Okay, this thing is a pretty negative opinion of us, which means that it must be fairly desperate. It wouldn't really approach us negatively like this if not out of desperation. So this is an unfriendly dog by itself. It smells our food sitting on our cart. and it's sort of circling us, you know, eyeing up the cart and stuff. So, I think if we don't do something... Well, who's on watch? I guess that's a good question. Alright, it's Bruce. So if we don't do something, this thing's going to... at some point try and grab some rations out of the cart or something. He's going to try to grab a steak out of the cart. Something like that. I don't think it'll actually attack us as long as there's food sitting there, but I don't think... Yeah, I don't like to kill just hand. It's just one wild dog. I imagine it kind of sad looking and really scrawny, so... Damn, I'm tempted to try to just tame this thing. We have stats for just a dog. We have stats for a hunting dog. That's pretty generous stats, really. I don't think we have stats for just like generic little animals. Tales of Argosa has stats for a regular dog, though. Wolf or dog. 1 hit dice +2. And this is for hunting. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll use the hunting dog stats. So, I mean, it's not bad. It has like 5 hit points, 12 armor, 1d4 bite damage, and it's... I don't know if I'd give this dog specific... This is a wild dog, so it's not trained for tracking. I mean, it can hear and smell pretty well, but it's not trained for tracking or anything. Yeah, we could have a little... We could have a little dog companion. We already have a snake companion. Yeah, it's a funny thing. Is like Bellany would be pretty terrible at actually like trying to tame this thing. She has terrible charisma, terrible intelligence. I couldn't really give her... I mean, I guess the fact that she's a ranger, I might just give her a bonus because she already tamed one animal. So she has clearly like a strong skill at animal training. So I might just give her like +4. Which puts her fairly close to Bruce, then. It is kind of funny if Bruce trained his own animal, though, instead of Bellany. Like, well, she just wakes up in a little bit, and he's just, like, petting this dog and having it roll over and stuff. He's just... Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. So, he's actually going to take a ration out of the cart. We're gonna spend a standard ration. I know. You know, I was gonna spend it no matter what, because it's either that or, like I said, it's either kill it, maybe try to scare it off, even though it sounds pretty desperate. It might just attack Bruce in that case, or later it would just try to steal a steak anyways. So yeah, he's just gonna give it to it and you know, try to coax it into being pet and stuff. So we'll roll animal lore, which he doesn't have, so he's just rolling straight int. Failure, okay. So, yeah, the dog's just... It's wild. It's basically a feral dog, and it's very desperate, so it doesn't really approach too much when he's just holding it. So eventually Bruce gives up and just tosses it, and the dog grabs it and runs off. And that was our encounter for that. Right, and then I have to subtract a ration for Bellany. I really shouldn't eat a standard ration. Well, we might need the space at some point, but probably not, so we'll just eat one of the iron rations. And then when we wake up, there's another check. Again, this is just D100, 44. That is going to be an NPC. May choose either a listed NPC or insert one of his own. May choose a listed NPC or insert one of his own. Are there lists of NPCs, or do you just mean someone from Endhome? Probably someone from Enhome, maybe one of those guys that wants to join us or something. Probably that little shit that wants to join us. Curly Barnes. Maybe he was following us all night. He saw us and he's been trying to catch up, but we were on horseback and he traveled all night. Oh. Adventurers, Bruce, please let me join you. I can help. I mean, he's a level fucking 3 thief, you know. If I made his stats actually a level 3 thief, he out levels us, but I don't think I would. I mean, if I was playing sword and wizardry, sure, he's a level 3 thief, fine, because it's not really that special. He has no real magical gear or anything, so he's whatever. He has 11 hit points and he can do 1d6 damage with a short sword. I mean, I guess he has the thieving skills, so he has an 87% climb chance. I just love that old school shit. 25% chance for traps. 25% chance to detect or disable traps, and that's like your best guy, you know. That's your level 3 thief. He's really the only one that can do it. Fucking 1 in 4 chance. It's abysmal. I looked at Sword and Wizardry because a lot of people say very good things about it, especially like the revised edition. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this is certainly old school. Like, I just cannot fathom playing a character like that. Like, that's the one thing you're good at, and you're terrible at it, just by design. I don't know. Do I want to have this little shit travel with us? Probably not, but if I were DMing, hell yeah, I would. I would have that exact scenario play out. And this guy just shows up, and he's just desperate to join. They probably wouldn't trust him at all. Probably just shoot him on sight. Anyways, all right, we continue traveling. So this is our second day of the 2-day trip to get out to the hills. So he's gonna roll his foraging again. All right, success. So he doesn't have to eat a ration tonight, of course. And we're going to roll our encounter for during the trip, which is, again, -10. 52. A burned out hovel. The smolder in the remains of a small one-room house. Little can be found to indicate what once lived here or why the shelter was burned. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely getting the impression that it's not a super nice place. We're getting into more wilder territory here. We are still definitely on the road. That wasn't a question. The road goes... Well, I assume it stops... Oh, there is an O there that I didn't look at. Hold on. Let me rewind the game a little bit. What is Area O? God, there's a lot of areas out here. Some of these are like dungeons and shit, you know? Roscoe's Inns, positioned about a day's ride north of and west of Enhome. Oh, so this is the Penpree Forest Inn we arrived at. Okay, so maybe we stayed here instead. These two inns are nearly identical and are both owned by the same Enhome entrepreneur. The inns serve as a resting place for merchants and travelers heading in or out of the city. Both are large and pleasant, have many rooms, 1 gold person per night, and plenty of stable space, 5 silver per mount, 8 silver per wagon, and serve 3 meals a day, 4 silver per person per meal. Alright, well, yeah, okay, so that's where we stayed. So then instead of eating our ration in the tent outside, and I probably shouldn't have rolled for that dog encounter then. Oh well, maybe that happened the next morning, whatever. Let me figure out how much we pay then. Let's assume we get... I lean towards 1 room, but that's probably fairly big. Bruce is smart enough to know that if he picks one of the women to put it, to go into the room with him, it's just going to really upset the other. And he doesn't want to cause trouble right now when they're heading out on an adventure. So he'll shell out for 3 rooms. So that's 3 gold plus 2 gold, the horses and the mule. So 5 gold plus 8 silver, 5.8, plus a meal, which is 1.2. So 7 gold total is what we're spending. Whoops. There you go. All right, that's fine. Yes. That was that. So then we move on. So I didn't realize I should have looked at the map. Okay, so now there's another one, which is Z, which I should look at ahead of time. Jimmy Dean's Tower. God damn it. Why does he have to call Jimmy Dean? I'm not sure if I would change that name or not if I was DMing, because it's just really ridiculous. I mean, are they not American? I think the authors of this might not be American then. But that's such an unusual fantasy name. What is it? Frog God Games, right? Doesn't even say, so we have no idea. I don't know. I can't really... Maybe they are American. They're having a Thanksgiving sale. It's fairly American. Maybe they are. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know why you would call it Jimmy Dean. Why? It's not like an in-joke, or that's why I mentioned, like, maybe they didn't realize or something, because it's not like it talks about how he, like, is really into sausage, or, I don't, I don't know. As far as I can tell, like, if you just change his name, this would read the exact same and you wouldn't question it. So I probably would just rename this because it just feels really out of place and weird. Anyways, so we had the burned out hovel. We're going to end the day at Jimmy Dean's Tower. We're going to end the march at Jimmy Dean's Tower. So we'll roll another encounter as we sort of spot it in the distance. Again, -10. And this is going to be the end of the Trader's Way Road. Because at the intersection, I assume that's no longer the road. But we got an 85, which is pretty significant. That's going to be 1d4 orcs. 1 orc. What's the reaction roll? And this is modified by Bruce's charisma +2. 6. Okay, so a neutral orc in the distance. Possibly in the trees, possibly spying on us. Says they're out looking for trouble. If the party doesn't look too formidable, they attack, hurling javelins before closing with their battle axes. You could argue this is maybe he's maybe part of a group of orcs. Like there's 3 other orcs, and he may be like they're further into the woods or something, and he's on like they're eating or something, or they're banging, or I who knows what. But they have him watching the road to keep an eye out for any traveler, like a merchant caravan, or like or Jimmy Dean wandering out of his forest, or out of his tower. Would he attack? Or no, not would he attack, but would he tell them, and would they attack as a group? Assuming there's 4 of them. There's technically 3 of us, and Trixie doesn't look too capable. Bruce looks pretty darn capable. He's wearing plate armor. He's got his big spear. I mean, He probably looks pretty capable. I rolled a 6 for the reaction roll, which is pretty neutral. So I wouldn't lean towards them attacking. Let's switch it up a little bit, though, and let's see if they notice this orc spying on them from the forest. Again, I don't really want to do any group checks if I can help it, so there's going to be individual perception checks. So Bellamy's likely to spot the orc. We'll give the orc a roll of... Well, we'll give him a dex of 12. Okay, so he failed. So he... I don't know how you want to narrate that. He rustled some leaves or something. Assuming we notice. We might not. But Bellany almost certainly will. Yeah, she did. So it doesn't really matter, but... See if Bruce also noticed. No, Bruce is oblivious to the world, as usual. But Bellany notices some rustling in the trees nearby, and what looks like a patch of green skin kind of poking out. Would she fire immediately? Green skin. Oracle roll. Will she fire? Yes. Okay. So she immediately takes out her bow and just fires straight at that patch of green skin. And we will roll longbow. I could give cover, but she's... Yeah, I could give cover to it. Alright, I'll give him +2 for his AC, even though... Not really. It's not really cover. It's leaves. Just because she can't see it, she knows there's a body there. So it's not really cover. If the arrow collides with a leaf before it collides with his body, that doesn't help much. So no, nothing of that. +1 for masterwork. Do I give advantage? Because it's surprise. Probably not. He can technically probably see her about to shoot, so no, I'm not going to give advantage. She rolled a 20 and 4 damage. I think that's usually a kill on an orc. Yeah, they have 1 hit dice, so that's 4. So, yeah, she kills him. Bruce is just, like, digging stuff out of his ear or something and looking at the tower ahead, and suddenly hears the arrow twang, and, like, ah! And this body just slumps over in the woods nearby them. God damn, Bellany. She is fucking ridiculous. Alright, well, obviously the caravan's going to stop right there, and she's going to, well, she'll tell Bruce to go check it out. She doesn't do that sort of stuff. So Bruce clambers off of his horse and waddles over and drags out this corpse of an orc with an arrow through his neck. He's got a javelin. Bruce might take that. I hate to use up another slot, but him having any ranged weapon, although his perception is not amazing, but it's negligible, right? Instead of rolling +4 for a melee weapon, he rolls +2. It's somewhat negligible. I think he'll pocket that javelin. And I just put this in here. Yeah, why not? And do axe javelins also do 1d6? Yes. 30 feet. Okay. Nice. Technically, we get XP for that, but I'm not going to write it down. Okay. He'll toss the body back into the woods, and I don't know, you know, some weird orc just watching people. He might think that there's more orcs nearby, but that's really just encouragement to keep moving. So we'll keep moving, and we arrive at Jimmy Dean's tower. Yeah, I just can't call him that though. So he's an alchemist. He's reclusive but friendly if approached properly. Properly implies politely and non-aggressively. Jimmy is shy and has no real desire to meet anyone. That being said, there are several ways one could gain an audience or even befriend this man. One way would be to politely knock on the door and make some small offering of friendship, perhaps a fresh caught deer or a cask of ale. Another would be to have something that might interest him. Oh, the ravings of a madman that we had. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we threw that out. I technically deleted it, I think, but we'll say I still have it. Because we could have easily just thrown it on the cart, so I don't know why I would have deleted it. I only deleted it because I knew it was useless for any further campaign purposes. But if I was actually playing, it's like, why would you ever throw that out? So, yeah, we could offer him that, and like, hey, you're a wizard. You're a man of study and science. Why don't you take a look at this? Okay. He's an accomplished magic user. He has skills in alchemy that he can use to do various things. Examples and prices for services include identifying a magic item, 500 gold. Jesus. Identifying a potion, 100 gold. Cure a disease, 250 gold. That's fair. Cure lycanthropy, 1,000 gold. Cure poison, 100 gold. Create a potion or other. Interaction with Jimmy should be treated as role-playing opportunity as well as a chance to gain an ally or patron. So you can cast first level magic despite being... Oh no. Sorry, you can cast 4th level magic. He's a 7th level magic user. So he could cast fucking Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Confusion. He's got a Wand of Magic Missile, Cloak of Protection +1, Brooch of Shielding. Tower is 80 feet tall, 40 feet round. Main entrance at its base. Buttressed and protected by a small stone wall framing a 5-foot wide wizard-locked wooden reinforced door. Barred from the inside. So it's wizard-locked and barred. He is quite reclusive, isn't he? Second level of the tower's living area contains a couch, 2 chairs, several bookcases. This is also where Maggie, Jimmy's pet homunculus, spends most of her time. There's a chest containing 1,800 gold. The laboratory equipment and stuff is worth over 5,000 gold. 12 potion bottles unmarked sit on the shelves. 2 potions of healing, 1 potion of flying, 2 vials of strong acid, 2 potions of cure disease, 1 potion of delusion for flying, which... Okay, that's pretty funny. So you think that you could fly, but you can't. I feel like most of the time you drink that and you pretty quickly realize you can't fly, but maybe you come convinced you have to jump off from somewhere in order to fly first. Potion of fire resistance, potion of magical poison, potion of gaseous form, potion of neutralized poison. Hidden in the bedpost of his bed are potions of gaseous form, magical sleeping draft, both clearly labeled. Yeah, okay, and that's it. Alright, how do we want to just handle this whole situation with Jimmy Dean? Basically, I guess we're just mostly looking for like a place to crash for the night because we know there's orcs around and stuff, and this is kind of dangerous territory. So, honestly, we'll just kind of give him the scrolls and stuff in exchange for just being able to sleep here for the night. Which also should hopefully endear a little bit of us to him. I could roll a reaction roll, or I could roll a persuasion roll for Bruce, which is probably what we're going to do. Yeah, and then maybe in the future, if we need one of these things done and we're relatively nearby, we can come back to him and have that done. He might also sell potions if we ask or something. So if we want to buy a potion of healing. Remember, though, an axe, that is very expensive. Now, I like that it doesn't even referee discretion for creating a potion and stuff. Yeah, not cheap. $1,100, right, was the price we talked about. 1,125 for like a sort of level 1 spell effect item. Yeah, it doesn't get cheaper than that. Like, there's just no way unless the DM makes a special exception. Because it's a level 1 use effect. It's 500 gold times spell level. And then selling it, if you made it, it's 225% of that value. So yeah, 1125. If it was like a wand of Cure Light Injury and it had 6 charges, it'd be 6 times that cost. That sort of thing. Or if you had a cloak that did that once per day, you could heal for, that would be times 33. 33,000 or 34,000, whatever it is, gold. I mean, it's a pretty nice effect. Once per day. Oh no, so that would be once every turn. That would be really good. Once per day would be 10 times the cost, so 11,000. Not bad. Not bad. That's if it's just on the market though, and the DM says it's on the market. If you commission it, then it's obviously way more expensive. Like, yeah, triple that. Anyways, we're not going to be buying potions. We just want to give him this in exchange for letting us crash here on like the second level of his... Even the first level is fine. The first level is storage and food supplies, as well as a pony and a mule and stalls. It's not high living or anything, but fuck it. It's better than sleeping outside with the orcs. So we're going to give him the scrolls. Bruce is going to roll a persuasion with advantage. Yeah, I'll give it advantage. This is a pretty nice thing that he wants, so we're just going to give it to him. All right, we succeeded, so he agrees. One night, we can crash here before we move on. We probably could ask him about like what's out in the hills and if he knows anything about the hills. There is this section of what we might learn. He might know this. Those adventuring NPCs might know this. The caves in the hills were once the home to bands of orcs who were driven from their lair by the forces of Endhome. Okay, so there might be more orcs up in the hills that we're gonna have to face off with. Yeah, it specifically mentions people in Endhome, so I feel like he might know things that they don't, but at the same time, it doesn't say that he knows anything special. So... apparently he knows about a goblin tower in Area 5. He was himself an apprentice of the mage, Quarian, that used to inhabit it. One possible scenario is for Jimmy to agree to help / brew for the characters if they retrieve Quarian's books for him. Okay, Area 5. Area V, not Area 5. Okay, not a Roman numeral. Area V. Quarian's Tower. Okay, and that's a whole thing with goblins and shit. And, okay, magic spellbooks there. Where is that? How far off our journey? Because we're trying to rescue this husband, apparently. I don't know if we actually believe that this guy's alive or anything, but we're trying to investigate it. That's far. That's very out of our way. Yeah, complete opposite direction. We'd have to go back that way. But, on our return trip, we might be able to do that. So, he'll mention that to us. But he mentions... Yeah, he probably mentions that there's orcs up in them hills. And, yeah, I feel like he might know some of these other things. This part. There's also rumored to be a vast labyrinth of tunnels and chambers beneath the caves. You could give him this rumor. The remains of an ancient city are buried in the hills north of Endhome, but I think just the rumor is good enough for him. He doesn't actually know. So that's fine. That's all fine. Alright. And then we're going to head out again. So it's early morning. We'll waive both of the random encounters. Although, you could roll the random encounter now. For when we come out, because it could be orcs, and that might be interesting. Oracle roll? Should I roll another encounter? No. The Oracle was very clear. Okay. That's fine. We leave Jimmy Dean, or whatever his name is going to be if I ever run this. And now we're going up into the hills. It's still going to take a little bit of time for us to start searching these hills. We're only at the intersection, but we really should be farther than that, shouldn't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So we stopped pretty early to rest here, but I already did it, so I can't take it back. It's alright, a new day. We gotta go 1, 2 at least. Really, we gotta go 3, so we gotta go till like 1 p.m. and then we can maybe start seeing... Well, I don't know what J and Q are. They might be obvious or not. But certainly, as we get into the hills, we're going to roll an encounter. And probably they're more frequent in the hills. We'll roll once every hour. That is pretty rough. Plus 5 if it's after nightfall. Subtracting 5 if we're on Fool's Pass. Okay. Well, we'll just roll once for now. Before I check what the landmarks are, and then we'll go from there. So, just straight D100. 93, great. It's a fucking Zorn. That's not good. Somehow this creature has found his way to the prime material plane and is burrowing through the hillside. He smells out precious metals on the party and attacks. It's a 7 hit dice monster with 21 AC, 3 claw attacks, and a bite. 1d3, 46. It's immune to fire and cold, resistant to electricity 50%, and it travels through stone. Does Axe have a Zorn? I wouldn't count on it, actually. No. Shit. Alright, I've never fought one. I've never encountered one in any game. So I need to get a clearer picture. Oh, it's like a Gug! Oh! It's like a Gug from, the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. Pretty sure that's where Gugs are from. Yeah, I mean, you think I'm kidding? You think I'm fucking kidding with you? This is a Gug from Lovecraft. That's a Gug. Okay? That's a Zorn. Pretty darn close. I don't think Axe has an equivalent to this, so we may just have to, we may just have to use the stats as written, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. We like to find Axe equivalents, but not necessary. Hold on, let me check the Discord real quick. Just to see if anyone's ever mentioned a Zorn. No. I mean, it has a couple mentions, but... No, I guess not. Okay, that's fine. So we'll just use the stats as provided. That's fine. So it burrows through stone. Can I get a little bit more info? Oh, it doesn't disturb the material it moves through. And it has advantage on dexterity checks to hide in rocky terrain. Ooh. That's going to be a bit tricky. Yeah, it's I don't know if it has. What's the earliest? Is Was this an AD&D at all? Probably. Everything was an AD&D. Okay. I mean, this thing seems... If it doesn't disturb the ground... That seems really hard to detect. Yeah, I mean, it's an ambush attacker. Although it says a Zorn is more likely to ignore a party or openly demand medals, which suggests that it's kind of intelligent. Average intelligence. I don't know what to make of this fucking thing. This is a really weird thing. We could just change it if you wanted to a giant worm or something. If you wanted something a bit more direct. Which Axe does have giant worms. Giant black worm, which has 15 hit dice. Or a giant gray worm, 6 hit dice. I mean, that's pretty close. Okay, so let's say we did a giant gray worm. 6 hit dice, 13 armor, has 1 attack for 3d6 damage, but if it succeeds with a crit, it can swallow the creature, suffering 2d6 damage at the start of its turn each round. Okay. Yeah, this is a lot easier. I just can't really wrap my head around a Zorn. I might have to watch like a lore video about them or something. Are they intelligent? Can they be detected? Like, I don't know. This is a lot simpler. So we're just gonna have a giant gray worm attack. Well, actually, hold on. I'm not... My cats are getting really hungry, so I'm gonna have to end this soon. But I recently went through all of the effort to download all of D4 Caltrops OSE encounter activity tables, which are activity tables for like basically every creature that's in OSE. And he has almost all of them done. And really, the only one that seems to be missing right now is dragons. Annoyingly, though, he doesn't compile them in any way. So you have to go to each page and then go to the Google document page, and then you can download it. So I imagine once he's all done, he'll combine it all. But it took a good amount of time to do it manually. But I have them all. There's like 130 of them. And yet, there doesn't seem to be a giant worm. There's a purple worm, I think. Yeah, there's a purple worm. Which is pretty much the same thing. Except I think they're a lot bigger. But okay, so here is... Here's the encounter activity table for purple worms. So it's a D100 table that you can roll on to just determine what this worm is doing when the random encounter is rolled. It's sort of like the activity die from Tales of Argosa, but it's a lot more specific to that creature. I like the activity die because it lets me kind of freeform and spitball, but this also saves a lot of effort and time. So if we just roll a D100, just to see, I mean, we could pick one too. But this has poised like a cobra, most of its bulk still buried under the ground. Which sounds like we just find it We just come across a hill and it's just sitting there poised like a cobra. I guess that could be. That seems weird. Like, why would it be doing that? Axe actually doesn't have a purple worm. Interesting. I don't think that it's purple worm is one of the proprietary ones that they own. But yeah, I mean, a giant black worm is... These things don't even... Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't imagine... I would imagine most of the time they're going to be burrowed. Alright, let me roll a different one, see what we get. 7. Boring up to the surface from the unseen depths below. Okay. So maybe then it's not even, like, really coming for us or something. It's just coming up. Like, on us. Which probably means there's not even, like, a perception roll here. Like, we can feel the sort of ground shaking a bit. Mixie, the mule, starting to panic. We're starting to panic a bit. And bursting out of the ground then. Where we were standing moments ago is a fucking giant gray worm. I mean, it's pretty nasty, right? +6 to its attack for 3d6 damage. This could be fatal pretty easily. But this is Axe, or this is Tales of Argosa. We can do a good amount of pain pretty quickly, and initiative is very generous in this game, or fairly generous. So fuck it, we're gonna fight it. We're probably not gonna outrun it. I didn't even roll a reaction roll, so I don't even know what its intentions are. It might just be getting some sun, but fuck it. Damn it, Bruce! Nothing I can do about that. So now I'll roll a reaction roll, because we haven't actually done anything yet. 7. So it's pretty neutral. It came up for a reason. I guess it could came up because it felt our movement and came to eat. I don't know why else it would come up, really. I can't think of anything. So it's probably going to eat us. So sure, it's going to try to bite Bruce. Again, +6 on the roll. Okay, he definitely dodges out of the way because he's Bruce, goddammit. He's good. Now it's our turn. Do I want to activate anything? Yeah, I could activate Blessed Weapon then. Although this thing isn't that hard to hit. It only has a 13 AC. And it's not chaotic. It's a neutral creature. So no, none of his blessings are really going to help here. Well, his rolls are terrible. I probably should use Blessed Weapon. Alright, fuck it. This is almost certainly going to be a significant combat, right? So, yeah, he'll throw on Blessed Weapon. So he actually gets +3 to his rolls. Natural 19. That is exactly what we want to see. 5 damage. It only has 27. Only. So he's down to 22. And we're going to roll on the blade trauma. Which for a spear, I think it said 1d12. I don't know if I actually set that up or not. Yeah, 1d12 blade trauma. Alright, 5. It's probably going to be nonsensical and useless. Should we create another blanket rule? I'm about to. Ligament slash. Okay, that's not useless, although it doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't really have ligaments. But like a shorn ear. What the fuck is that going to be to a freaking giant worm? It's ridiculous. Or disarmed. I mean, it's useless. And it has no ruling at all here. No advice or anything on if like it just doesn't make sense. So I'm creating a new house rule because this comes up fairly often. If you're fighting anything that isn't a human, or a humanoid, a lot of this is just not going to make sense. So we're making a special ruling where if you roll a natural 19, if you roll a trauma result, and I think that it doesn't make sense, the DM doesn't think it makes sense, you get to roll an extra damage die. No bonuses, no strength, no nothing, just an extra damage die. That's it. It's not amazing. It's certainly, but again, like, it's better than just me saying, oh, yeah, it has no ears, so sorry. So fuck it. He gets to roll an extra d6 damage. 4. Boom. Done. So now he's down to 18 hit points. Bellany, of course, is definitely going to be shooting. She can't really do much else. She didn't prepare the poison, and she's not about to spend a turn to do it. So, yes. I mean, we're also going to have Writhe attack, because why wouldn't we? But she's just going to shoot. And again, she gets +1. Alright, she actually missed. Damn. Okay, and then she'll send Writhe in to go attack its butt. Or, just somewhere in the rear where it's not noticing too much. So he's going to roll his attack. That is a hit for 3 damage. And it has to make a luck con save. I would imagine a giant worm has quite a few hit points. There's a plague worm or a frost worm. Both of them have we'll say 14 con. Well, there's a difference there. It's a 1 or a 2 benefit. I would probably say 2. We'll give him 2. And he has 6 hit dice, so that means his luck is 8. So he's 10 or under, he doesn't take the poison. Okay, he definitely does not take the poison. Well, still, he's down to 15 hit points, so we'll take it. New initiative! Come on, Bellany. Damn it! Alright. The worm is not down to half, so he's still going to try to swallow Bruce and go to drag him down for a meal. So he's going to attack again, +6. Crit. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. So bad that we might have Bellany attempt to rescue. Because he's going to take 18 damage and be swallowed. Like, he is pretty much dead then. Like, it's some fucking Men in Black, like, just standing there and just gets devoured by the giant creature. So, and like, it's just not good. So I think we'll have Bellany try to rescue him by just firing an arrow. The worm doesn't really have an eye, but maybe like right in its like, upper palate of its mouth, just as it's about to swallow Bruce to distract it. So she has to roll initiative, and she failed, which means there's nothing for it. No, nothing I can do about it. She failed. Bruce obviously can't do anything. Wait a minute, he could sunder his shield, right? It's a fucking masterwork shield, but he could sunder it. We've never done it because I usually don't like to lose shields, but once per adventure, a PC may use a shield to negate a single directional attack against them, including a dragon bite. So yes, simply your shield negates the hit or damage. Shield is destroyed in the process. Yeah, so he loses his fucking masterwork. I don't think Axe lets you sunder, so I don't think it has special rules for that for like Masterworks. So I don't think the fact that it's the fact that it's a masterwork makes it a lot more painful that he's sundering it, but also like fucking necessary. I could be a dick and say just make up a house rule that you can't use it on a crit, but the rules say nothing about that. Well, it's not sunder. It's what's the word for it? Splinter. Well, I think different games have different verbs or nouns, different words for the same thing. It's not a rule in the base game of Shadow Dark, but it is in one of the supplements. One of the Curse Scroll or something like that. Well, we could argue that if I'm going to come up with a house rule, I guess it says that magical and adamantine shields are not destroyed, but can't be used in this manner again until repaired. But they still provide a +1 AC bonus. We could split the difference and say it's not totally destroyed. It could be repaired, but it's not usable as a shield until it's repaired. And it says here repairing costs half the original purchase price, which is a nice compromise. Like, okay, you don't lose the thing entirely, but you're going to have to spend several hundred gold to get it repaired. Which is still nicer than it paying the full price. And probably I would say that any competent blacksmith could repair it at the very least. It doesn't have to be a grandmaster. Although that's probably not accurate of how it would work in real life. I don't know. I assume I'll be generous. So yes, he is going to splinter the shield. And that's just going to go in his battle gear now. But he negates the crit. He avoids it. So since it was negated, it was not a successful bite attack, so that was it. Yeah, I mean, basically, the worm just bites his shield in half. Instead of biting his head in half or whatever. It would have been... I mean, that's crazy. Damn it, okay. But now he's got a two-handed on the spear. 1d8. Oh, fuck, I already had it at 1d8 +1. I shouldn't have had that. Why did I have that? That was my mistake. Oh, fudge. It is what it is. But he's rolling. And he's got +3. He's got the blessed weapon. There you go. Another 8 damage. So it's down to 7. Yeah, we got it down to 7. I could do a major exploit. I probably should have done a major exploit the first time, to be honest. This is a giant worm. But Bellany is going to finish it. No problem. Boom. I was right. Okay. Yeah. It was sort of crazy that amount of attacks would kill a giant worm. Like, how could you possibly inflict that amount of damage to it? But yeah, it does. We don't worry about the abstract too much. Okay. Well, that's worth 570 XP, by the way. So we'll take that. Was it a short? I don't think we did. It somehow was not a significant combat. We did not take any damage, but he did splinter his shield specifically to avoid dying. And we did use abilities, I suppose. I guess I could argue it was a significant combat. I mean, Bellany doesn't care one way or the other, but I mean, Bruce could get his ability back. It seems like such a significant fight. Like, it's a giant worm. I'm going to give it to him. All right, good. He gets it back. Perfect. I mean, that was what I thought was going to happen, is there's guaranteed to be a significant fight. I just didn't think he would crit. Now it says, because of their propensity to swallow creatures whole, an encounter with gray worms can yield treasure even though the creature has no lair. The treasure, if any, is always found inside the creature's bellies. Would we even think that thought that there might be treasure inside the giant worm's belly? We'll roll, yeah, we'll just roll an oracle. No. That was just like, because I don't think my family, if I DM'd for them and they had this encounter, I don't think they would think to cut it open because there might be treasure inside. But if you play these kind of games, and if you play... Yeah, I think if you play these kind of games, you should know that. You should realize, you should think like, hey, this creature swallows adventurers. There might be treasure inside. And if we did take the time, which would take some time, to cut it open and search its belly, we'd roll on treasure type K. Let's just see what that would be. Average of 5,000 gold. Good God. What a terrible oracle roll that was. For their example, they pulled out, yeah, like 2,500. So they low rolled the shit out of it. Also, its gizzards. Its gizzard is worth 270 gold of magical research for Circle of Agony and Locate Treasure. Its mandibles, 300 gold for Create Chasm, Earth's Teeth, and Earth's Movement and Passageway. The mandibles can also fetch 18 gold. I like how it says, if not used for magic research, they weigh 2/6 of a stone. If used for magical research, they weigh 5 stone. I guess maybe you just take a lot more of the mandibles section, if you know, for magic. But if not, it's just like, I don't know what it's used for. Probably some like weird aphrodisiac or something. I don't know. So yeah, that sucks, because we could easily pull another 5,000 XP off of that and just go back to town and level up. But I suppose it's fair if we don't. That does seem like rather high for a 6-hit dice creature. If we go just by what they rolled as the average, assume, like, say they rolled the exact average or around about of 2,400-ish, then probably you're more looking at the Hoarder, an H. Which is still quite a lot. But it could be like, this guarantees 80% for copper, 80% for silver, 50% for electrum, 80% for gems, and 80% for jewelry, which are only trinkets, but still, and a 50% chance for 2d6 common magic items. It puts the fucking average magic item value at 19,000. That seems crazy, but that's a heroic table. What about H? Well, still 25% chance. Any 3 magic items plus 1 potion plus 1 scroll. Jeez. Maybe I would drop it down to incidental then. F. Yeah, we're fine. I'm not going to cut it open. I rolled the oracle. I accept my fate. It's fine. But in the future, fucking cut open those giant worms. Cut open those, you know, dragons. Cut open anything that could conceivably swallow someone like you. There could be treasure in there. All right, and that brings us to arriving at the hills. I mean, that was a hill roll, but now we're at the hills. So we were going to look at location J. Does it have bookmarks? It does have bookmarks. Just wanted to see where the map is located. Okay, so it's right. Yeah, okay, that's fine. J and Q. So J is Crink and Flink. two half-orcs. They live in a small square home. So they're two twin brothers. Live in a small square home made of stones and mud. Okay. We probably wouldn't see that from a distance. But if we go into that hex, maybe. And then, what is it? Q? Painted cave? Yeah. Which is hidden behind a small copse of trees. A 4-foot diameter cave entrance leading to a small dungeon complex. Honestly, these are 5-mile hexes. That's a very big area. Chances are we wouldn't notice anything, and we have to search for both of them. So, probably we're going to have to search multiple hexes before we find this. And searching, you know, I used to do the rule of, like, the descent, or the escalating sort of d20. So for every hour, you roll a d20. On a 20, you find what you're looking for. On a 1, you have a random encounter. So on and so forth. But we already have a random encounter thing every table, or every hour anyways. We have a table for it. So that's not really a good rule. We could go with axe rules, where based on your proficiency, you just sort of roll every hour. And you have, based on your expedition movement, we have horses and stuff like that, so we'd be in this area. So it's a 17 plus. I'd probably give a wilderness lore bonus to that. Using Tales of Argosa rules, we probably just roll wilderness lore. And if you succeed, you succeed. Well, really, I don't even know if it's... It says 1 watch to explore a hex. Which usually just means you find whatever you're looking for. Well, this says the party spends a watch exploring a hex that has no keyed material. Which suggests that you don't even need to do that if there's something in the hex. But I don't really like that. Oh, okay. No, never mind. If exploring a hex, the referee also reveals 1 or more further points of interest. Yeah, okay. So basically, generally no checks. But there could be, if it's hidden. Which probably, again, would be wilderness lore. Yeah, I'd probably lean towards just doing the Tales of Argosa rules. So there's like, in that case, there's like 3 tiers, right? There's like the obvious landmarks you're going to notice as soon as you enter the hex, maybe even before you enter the hex. There's the mid tier, where if you just spend like an hour, a couple hour, whatever, a few hours searching, you'll find it. And then there's hidden shit, where you'll have to roll and succeed on wilderness lore to actually navigate around and find this thing. That would be probably the 3 tiers. I think the house with the brothers, that's probably in the mid tier. If we search, we'll find that house. It's not hidden or anything. But the painted cave, that's going to be hidden. It's hidden behind a copse of trees, and a small copse of trees. So we have to really just decide which of these 2 hexes we're entering. The J hex will be 1, and the Q will be 2. All right, so we're going into Q. So that takes time, though, because now we're in the, you know... We spent 1, 2 hexes getting here, so we can go in here. This is about 6 hours. So we're saying what? Like... I can travel 20 miles per day. That's 1 hex per 2 hours. So probably we're going to have to roll twice going into Q. There are a lot of encounter checks out here. It's fairly dangerous. Alright. But it is still daytime. So just straight D100 twice. First one is 16. No encounter, thankfully. Second one is 91. Another giant worm. It's mate. Oh, God. No, that's a reroll. I'm sorry. The 1 giant worm encounter is good enough. Okay. Phenomenally, No encounter. Okay, so we arrive there. We don't really see anything but just rolling hills. So now we're gonna either camp. Also, can I just say, this rate is absurd, right? This is probably the highest encounter rate I have ever witnessed in any game or module. Every hour you're in the area, including nighttime, you could have 8 combat encounters over the course of a night. It's too much, man. It's way too much. In the forest, you roll once every 6 hours. What the fuck is up with these hills? I guess because they're so open, they're lightly forested. You can just kind of see everything, and it's all just wants you dead. It's too much. I could see every 4 hours, to be honest. It's still quite high. That's 2 encounter rolls per night. One of which could be a fucking red dragon. But every hour is just... No one's going to play that. So we have 2 hours of daylight left. We will spend the 2 hours searching. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about Axe, I suppose, and that rule is, like, it's pretty tough to find things unless you're moving very fast, which makes... I mean, this is a very logical roll. I almost want to just lift that, because I feel like the wilderness lore is too easy. Like, it's very possible to have a character fail a wilderness roll, like, 5 or 10% of the time, you know? 15% maybe. Like, your dedicated ranger or whatever, your dedicated wilderness person with a high int. You know, Bruce will fail 25% of the time. That's pretty low. Like, if we would in Axe, to get that kind of result, we'd have to have an expedition movement of, like, you know, 150 miles per day. Like, just insane amount of speed. Granted, you get a +4 if you have tracking, so possibly just 108 miles per day. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just nuts. But this is a per hour thing. So yeah, I'm fine with that. So we'll do the same. I'll follow this chart, but we'll say that anyone with wilderness lore gets a +4. So it is going to be, because that's way more common than having the tracking proficiency. But I like to be a bit nicer, so we'll stick with that. So for both of our characters, then. Oh no! Yes, no, it's 1 roll. That's right. Unless you split up, that's correct. Yeah, unless you split up, you get 1 roll. So it's 1 roll for the party, and they're going to have 13 or higher. It's a little bit weird if you DM this then, because you want to roll high. You could flip this chart, I guess, and just reverse it. In which case, basically, yeah, I mean, it's just math, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That gives them a fucking 40% chance of success. So if you just want to reverse it, if it really matters, then they just need to roll an 8 or under. Yeah, right, yeah. So an 8 or under. Fine, we'll do that. 8 or under. Nope. So the first hour, nothing. We have 1 more hour of searching before nightfall. No. Okay, so we don't really find anything. And now we have to camp out in these dirty, dark hills. And before we settle in for bed, we'll do 1 more encounter check. Like I said, every 4 hours, which is still kind of high. That's still... Like, nobody has that high of a rate, right? I mean, unless you're searching, then it's once per hour. So I guess I could have done that. Well, so yeah, I probably should have. But otherwise, no. No one. Once per 12 is the high, even in the most unsettled at nighttime, whatever. Once per 12 hours. Crazy. I get wanting to make the area seem dangerous, but it just bogs down the game so much. I mean, random encounters can and should be very fun and interesting and offer a lot of opportunities rather than just, here's another combat encounter. Like, that's all well and good, but the content of the actual, like, module and, like, the dungeons and NPCs and exciting locations and stuff is also usually what people want. Because an encounter with 1d6 plus 1 hobgoblins is probably going to lead to combat or nothing, and the loot from that is going to be pretty minimal. Or 2d4 goblins, or, you know, whatever. 1d2 ogres. It's just... yeah. Alright, one more roll then before nighttime. Before bedtime. 96, 1d3 ghouls, night only. It is night. Actually, I add plus 5. So it's 101, which is no result. I mean, technically, right? Unless that defaults to a red dragon. No, we'll say no result. It went off the chart, so it's no result. Screw you. Okay, then we're going to have 2 encounters during the night. So the first one... oh, I didn't roll other things. So it's plus 5, 58, which is a battle scene, which is nonsensical, so we can ignore it. And then the second one is 90, which is 1d6 plus 1 Grimlocks. Warriors from the small tribe of Grimlocks in Area K sniff out the characters and attack. Okay, no reaction roll, no activity. They have come and they will attack. 1d6 plus 1. 4 of them. They have 2 hit dice, 15 AC, 1d8 stone axe. They're immune to gaze attacks, illusions, and visual effects. Okay. I don't know what a Grimlock is, but I assume it's sort of like a Morlock. I guess I'm supposed to just know what a Grimlock is, apparently. I picture them sort of like, you know, Morlocks, or like these weird, discolored, tribal, cavemen sort of things, I guess. Alright, who's on watch? Bellany. She'll possibly spot him then. We'll give him a reasonably good stealth chance at night of like 13. They rolled a margin of 0, so she'll almost certainly spot these and awake Bruce. Yep, she does. She sees them kind of circling the camp. So she kicks Bruce awake and say that we've got company. He's not going to have his armor on, and he doesn't have a shield, so this is not going to be great. Bellany obviously doesn't fuck around with things that look like that and come towards their camp at night without saying anything, so she's going to immediately shoot as soon as she sees one visibly enough. We'll give her a -2 for the roll, because they're sort of on the edge of the light. So, a -1 overall. Alright, she misses, but the intention is clear, and so they're going to charge in. And initiative is rolled. Of course. I mean, we will never succeed on initiative, ever. Ever. I don't think Bruce has succeeded on initiative yet. So they're going to charge in and attack us, and it's not going to be pleasant. They're going to get +2, and they're all charging, so +4, and Bellany and Bruce are standing next to each other, so each of them are going to have to brunt 2 of them. Bruce is about to get fucked up, man. Yeah. All right, his rolls. Yep, 2 hits, including a natural 19 if I wanted to establish it, which I could with a stone axe. You could lose an ear here. That's 2d8 damage on Bruce for 6. Okay, you got very lucky there. As for the natural 19, that would depend on what sort of axe I classify it as. If we want to just say it's a battle axe, then it would be 1d8 plus 4. Well, it's a stone axe. We'll make it a light axe. 1d12 straight up. 9 is not good. Bleeding out. 2d6 HP at the start of their turn each round. He has to spend an action to stem the flow. Do we even have Apothecary? No. We're fucked. You'll have to spend an action every 10 minutes. Oh my god. That's abysmal. Yeah, and I specifically didn't give him lay on hands or anything. Okay, and then Bellany. Again, this is +4 to their roll. Okay, one of them also got a natural 19, and one of them fumbled, but she doesn't have a melee weapon out. The natural 19, she takes 5 damage. And I'm going to roll d12 blade trauma. Just 1. So she's pinned to a nearby surface. Okay. So, yeah, she's pinned. She can break free with a strength check or contest, no action. So he's kind of got her, cloak or something pinned down with his axe. So she'll have to contest against his strength, which is not going to be easy. Not at all. She may as well roll, though. Nope, no chance in hell. So she's stuck where she is. Damn, this is really looking bad. She doesn't have many options then. I guess she'll go ahead and pull out her short sword to stab one of them. She gets no bonuses to the roll. She misses. Writhe is going to, of course, attempt to kill one of them. Okay, that's a hit. Does 2 damage, and they have to make a luck con save. We'll give them +1. They have 2 hit dice, so I think that's 5 or under. Nope, they fail, so another d8 damage from poison. 2. So it's a total of 4 damage to one of them. Okay, so he's got 5 health left. Bruce takes 2d6 damage from bleeding out, which is another 8. And here's where we have to now determine if these things are chaotic or not, or evil. And I don't know what to really make of them. I think I might have to Google this. No, not the G1 Transformer. Monstrous humanoids. I would imagine they're chaotic or neutral evil. Alright, we're counting them as evil. This is what they look like, which is basically what I pictured. Okay, good. He's going to activate Aura of Sanctuary then. So now they all have to roll luck, will, or lose their action. So they all have to roll 4 or under whenever they attack. I don't think they're aberrations, so... yeah, turning's not going to do anything. He's going to then... Aura of Sanctuary is not an action, like we discussed, so he's going to spend his action to just patch himself up for a moment. So he stops bleeding out for 10 minutes. And then it's Bellany's initiative, also a failure. So they're going to go again. Again, 2 of them on each one. First, we'll just roll the luck wills. So again, 4 or under. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means one of them on Bruce will be able to attack. He swings. He hits for another d8. 5 more. Bruce is down to 3. Bruce now is able to counterattack. He misses because Bruce practically never hits anything ever. He's one of the most useless characters I've ever had, despite his pretty solid stats. Bellany will try to break free from the shit again. She failed. So she'll try to stab the injured one. She also fails. Writhe will continue biting the injured one. He does hit. Brings him down to 2, and then the luck con save. Again, 5 or under. Fails, so another D8. And he succumbs to the poison. Holy shit, Writhe just did 11 damage. That's why we have the Beast Companion. Okay, so one of their number has died, but they're still pretty bold. Although the Aura of Sanctuary might tilt things towards a morale check. We failed initiative again. Alright, the 3 attacking, so 2 on Bruce, 1 on Bellany. Luck will. 1 on Bruce succeeds again on it, and he'll roll to attack. And of course he hits again, and Bruce goes down. Holy shit, the odds of all that aligning. I mean, Bruce only has 10 AC, so it's not that ridiculous. But my god. 4 or under. Aura of Sanctuary should make us like walking gods in a fight like this. And it just... God. I already used my rescue, so there's nothing I can do. He's down. He might die. Bellany is going to try to stab the other one on her. No, she'll try to break free again. Fail again. Oh my god, this party. She does crit, though, for 7 damage. Excellent. Can Writhe finish it? Yes. Also a natural 19, so it's an extra 3d6 damage. That dude's fucked. Okay, new initiative. Failure. They're now going to roll morale. We'll give them individual morale at 10. No, not individual. If one of them fails, they both fail. They'll both run. So they have to roll 10 or under to stay. They did not. They're happy they've dropped this big brute, but they look over and see 2 of their guys dead from this woman, so they hightail it out of there. And that's the encounter. Fucking hell. Bruce has 2 rerolls and a 13 death save. I can't imagine he's down, but it's bad. It's definitely bad. So she's going to roll over the big lug's body and check. Alright, he succeeds. So he's at 1 hit point. And now we have to roll d20 on the injury and setback table. Fuck. That might be an end to the adventure. Eye injury. He suffers disadvantage on sight perception checks and a 33% miss chance on attack rolls. Make a luck con save. On a fail, the eye is lost. On a success, the eye is damaged but will heal in 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Alright, luck con. Probably oracle roll. Although it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Terrible failure. Reroll. Terrible he rolled 20 twice. So he lost his eye. All his attacks for the end of time will have a 33% miss chance. That is not a character you're really going to stick around and use. You just won't. Like, why? Like, any character could be just better than that. And the way that, again, we roll attributes and stuff, if I want another fighter or something, I can guarantee he has a +2 strength mod, you know? Like, yeah, he'd be level 1. Sure. And he might not have as good a constitution or something like that. Like, he could be worse. But a 33% miss chance flat on every attack roll for the rest of your character's existence? Insane. However, there is the axe spell of Restore Life and Limb. Or not Restore Life and Limb. Repair Disfigurement or whatever it is. Yeah, Repair Disfigurement and Disability. So this is the level 4 spell. We can absolutely find someone in town to do this. We're next to the fucking mercantile capital. It's a class 3 market. So if we go here... Level 4... Where was that? Class 3, there's going to be 2d3 casters per month capable of casting that, and it's 185 gold. That's assuming that we're, like, part of their faith. But he is a paladin of Bahamut. I don't think it's that ridiculous to find someone that will cast that on him. So yeah, 185 gold to get his eye back is not too bad. But that's certainly going to end our adventure here. Which means, yeah, we have to then make it through the rest of the night. That was the first encounter roll of the night. And then we have to trek all the way back, get it repaired, then come all the way back here, and then keep searching again. Good lord. I think I'm probably going to ignore the timing for this. This is just all way too much. Even once every 4 hours is too much. I'll stick with Axe, where, assuming we even say we're in the Outlands, that would be once per 6 mile hex while traveling, and once per 12 hours at night. Like, that's all you really need. Any more than that is just obscene. And then, obviously, while searching, we risk bumping into stuff. That's fine. That's par for the course. Alright, let's just roll the short rests. He succeeded on one. We'll give him hit points. Bellany, short rest. Double failure. He was technically bleeding out, but he also rolled his death save. So I think the fact that he lost an eye and almost died is enough for us to ignore it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I guess he could patch himself up every 10 minutes until we make it at least back to the tower and have Jimmy Dean patch him up. Either way. We also didn't consume rations, and I didn't do the forage roll. So let me do the forage roll for that day that we did. Okay, so one less ration. But actually, I'm going to test my house rule here. I don't think it's going to be busted. But, so we'll have Trixie not need to eat a ration. We'll have Bellany eat an iron ration. And we're going to just retcon and say, oh yeah, we forgot to eat. And Bruce is going to eat a standard ration right now. I'm doing things out of order. I don't care. So he gets back 2 hit points. She gets back 1 hit point. And then he gets to make 1 recovery roll, which is just straight will. Okay, he failed. So he doesn't get anything. So we carried that food for nothing. But he got an extra hit point, I suppose. Alright. And the night passes by. No, I didn't roll the second random encounter. So 47, which is a grave site, which I can ignore. Okay, the night passes by, the morning comes, and we're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Bruce is missing an eye. He used to be so beautiful. Does that spell have any drawbacks, or just you're all good? I mean, he'll keep the eye, I suppose, but it's pretty disfigured. Each time a character benefits from repair, disfigurement, and disability, must roll in the Tampering with Mortality table in Chapter 6 and apply these results. Well, that's fun. Oh, it's in the Mortal Wounds section. Okay. So there's modifiers. If you're youthful, you get +2 on the roll. -5 if you're middle-aged. -10 if you're old. -20 if you're ancient. +2 if cast in Temple of Spellcaster's God. We'll get that. Because we're assuming there's a temple to Bahamut in this big city. +half level of the spellcaster casting the spell. Where were we looking where there was like a 9th level cleric? Oh, the head of the order. Well, it's probably not him. So, yeah, I mean, I think we can assume whoever can cast 4th level spells. I guess we'll think about that. State of the combatant's body. -1 per each hand, foot, ear, eye, tongue, genitalia destroyed, so -1. And then it's plus his will modifier. +5 if the creature's still alive. I don't think that's only if you're bringing him back from the dead. Okay. I just wanted to look at this now. Okay, and here's the table. So roll 1d20 and 1d6 on tampering with brutality for his alignment. Apply the modifiers listed below. Sort of. Oh, this is the mortal wound table. No, we need. Why would you roll on the mortal wound table for being repaired? Oh no, we're not. We're not rolling on the mortal. We're rolling on the tampering with mortality table. There's a lot of mortal wound tables. All right, he's lawful. So it would be stuff like you need a month of bed rest. You need 3 weeks of bed rest, 1 week of bed rest. Side effects: permanently lose a point of will. -2 penalty to save versus poisons you ingest. You age 1d10 years. 10% penalty to XP until your next level. Okay, yeah, it's not pleasant, but he needs that eye repaired. All right, we're gonna end off here then. It's a new day. We're in the fucking hills. We're in this region here. So it's gonna be a trek, I mean, for sure. It was like 3 days to get out here, really. We're not gonna stop at Jimmy Dean's, I guess. Or we're not going to spend the night. We might ask him to just stop the bleeding on Bruce, but we'll see about that. And then, yeah, back to end home. Get it healed, get rested, get all that, come back out here. Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, that is the type of game we're playing. Not everyone's going to enjoy an experience like that. You know, they want to get to the dungeon and do the dungeon, and that's the end of it. But this is how it went. I mean, it was really unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like it when an encounter just says, these are the Grimlocks, they come at night, they attack. Like, that's the random encounter. It's like, I don't agree with, like, random encounters should always be, like, there should be always some possibility other than combat. So I really should have rolled a reaction roll, although she does have -1. But it could have been, look at that, could have been fucking 11. Like, they could have wanted to negotiate. I don't know if Grimlocks even do that. Oh, this says they are aberrations. He could have turned them. What? Look at this. It says their behavior is rooted in a deep sense of self-preservation and struggle for survival. So they could have come to us and maybe one of them was injured or something and they didn't know what to do. Or who knows what. Or maybe they wanted to trade. They really needed food and they were willing to actually trade instead of kill. I don't know. Something could have happened that would have kept his eye and kept things rolling. Rather than just saying, yeah, they attack. They're just going to attack you. they're definitely going to attack you. Lame. Lame auto attacks. That's fucking D&D 5e stuff, and even they probably aren't that bad. Intelligent creatures should always have more interesting possibilities than just attack. I mean, that is a strong possibility, don't get me wrong, but come on. Maybe I'm just salty because Bruce lost an eye. Alright, anyways, we'll get to all that next time. Hopefully we get to the dungeon, but you never know. For now, though, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.